Welcome back, loyal viewers, to the Lakelands football show. Had a little bit of a scare last week. Show was on the chopping block, but we were able to negotiate with executive editor Richard Whiting. Had to cut the clothing budget, so no more shirt and tie, but it was either that or my hairstylist, and we know what I'm going to pick every single time.
We're not saying we're heroes, but you're welcome.
Anyways, let's get down to the football action. Big week around the Lakelands. It's a week I know you and I have been looking forward to for quite some time, and that's the start of Region 2 Class 2A football. It's going to be a meat grinder. 4 teams, or actually all 6 teams, have either been ranked or have received votes this year. 3 are undefeated. Abbeville's 4-1. I mean, every single week from here on out, it's going to be just a knockdown, drag-out brawl. And 2 big games in the area for us in that region this week. We'll call it the co-game of the week is 96 in Saluda.
You know, 96 may be the best 2 and 3 team in Class 2A. I mean, they've had a couple of hard games coming fresh off a bye week. It's going to be a really good game, especially with Saluda at 96. They're actually 96 is at Saluda. You know, Malik Brooks, we just can't get enough of this kid. He's great. He is just so good, and you know their wide receivers are great out there. And I just feel like Saluda is clicking like Saluda hasn't in a long time. I imagine this game is going to be a very tough fight. Never going to count 96 out in this region. I just can't imagine what this game is going to become on Friday.
Yeah, 96, their 3 losses by combined 10 points. So they've been in every single game, and all 3 of those losses are Class 3A opponents too. So it'll be interesting to see how they stack up against someone their own size.
Do you have a prediction for that one?
Malik Brooks.
I'm going to go with Saluda also. I feel like they're too hot right now, even though I think 96 is going to give them all they can handle.
Absolutely. And the other co-game of the week is Abbeville at Strom-Thurmond. Abbeville's 4-1. They've been ranked as high as 2nd in the state. Strom-Thurmond is 5-0, fresh off a 35-14 win over North Augusta, who was ranked 9th in Class 4A. So that's a big win for Strom-Thurmond. These 2 teams, are traditional powers around the state. They're always, pretty good teams. They're both coming off down years last year. They both seem to be rolling. Abbeville kind of took it to them last year, 33-14 win at Heights Stadium, but they got to go into Edgefield tonight, which is going to be a really tough test, but I think the Panthers bounce back nicely, win a low-scoring defensive battle over Strom-Thurmond tonight.
I would just like to go ahead and petition that all the teams from Region 2-2A make it into the playoffs. I don't see why we can't do that.
It'd probably help out some teams at the bottom of that region.
Definitely. Another game we have this week, Greenwood is traveling to Greenville. Andrew, what do you think is going to happen in that game this week?
I think it's a big bounce-back game for Greenwood. They've really struggled recently playing, some of the best teams around the state. Offensively, they've only scored 31 points in their last 4 games, all losses. But Greenville gives up over 48 points per game, so that seems like a good recipe for the Eagles to get back on track. I think they're chomping at the bit to get at someone who's not the defending state champion.
Yeah.
I think Greenwood's finally going to look really good, and they're going to put it all together, and they're going to pull out a big win. Emerald's also up in the Greenville area.
They are.
With the Eagles. They're traveling to Blue Ridge, which is way up in the Greenville area.
Yeah.
How do you think the Vikings are going to do after a big win last week?
Coach McMahon said that they made a lot of defensive changes, and it was very evident this past week against Southside. Southside may have been a little overrated, but beating a 4-0 team is beating a 4-0 team. Emerald's defense just looks so good. The front was working really well against that offensive line, and their secondary just took over there at the end. It really shut down any chance Southside had of coming back in that game. I don't see why they wouldn't win this one just because I feel like they've gotten things figured out. I don't see why they would stray from what they did last week.
Picking against Emerald last week, I got picked on a little bit on Twitter to the delight of Mayor Wellborn Adams. But, they kind of have a point. I've picked against Emerald all year. nothing against Emerald. They just played 5 really good teams.
Yeah.
But for the first time all year, I'm going with the Vikings.
Well, Coach McMahon was saying that size wasn't necessarily their strong suit this year, like it was last year. They do have a lot of speed on that defensive front, though, and I mean, I tell you, they're really looking good. So
yeah, talking about another team who's coming off a good win, kind of get some positive momentum going is McCormick. They kind of an upset win against St. Joseph's last week, 14-10.
Yeah,
it was a good program building win for first-year coach Russ Schneider, and they host a little bit of a rival, the Dixie Hornets tonight, who are looking for the first win.
Like Andrew said, McCormick's coming off that big win, and kind of want to go with the Chiefs on this one as well, just because I just feel like they have some great athletes there, and as they go along, they're going to get this offensive system down and really settle into a good rushing attack, I feel.
Yeah, Dixie shut McCormick down last year. I think the final score of that game was like 6-3 or something really low scoring. Dixie's not having that kind of year this year on defense.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be 0-6, unfortunately, for the Green Hornets.
Right.
And, rounding out some action around the Lakelands, the Purple Hornets, where Shoals have won 2 games in a row. They have a really tough test, though. They got to go to St. Joseph's. I think the winning streak ends there. Southside Christians at Calhoun Falls Charter School. Southside Christians kind of hovered on the top 10 rankings all year in Class A. And they've really manhandled some teams that Calhoun Falls has been competitive with. So I think the Sabres pull out a win in that one. And going to the Fighting Hawks of Greenwood Christian, they're at Clarendon Hall Academy this week.
I mean, Greenwood Christian's rushing attack has just been phenomenal. I don't think they can be stopped right now on the ground, and I don't feel like Clarendon Hall is going to get them either. Also, you need any help moving a heavy object, maybe getting your car out of a ditch, maybe plowing a field, I would call Gary Gillian at Greenwood Christian and get his offensive lineman to come help you out.
They got some big boys over there, and they're really rolling right now.
That's it for us here at the Lakelands Football Show. Please follow us on Twitter. IJ Ethan Joyce, IJ Andrew Mackey, even though he's not going to be covering a game this Friday, he's going to a wedding, which, to keep up the quota, I think he goes to like 7 a year.
It's true. I'm a professional wedding goer.
Follow our sports editor, IJ Greg Hampton, and please feel free to tweet at the hashtag Lakelands Football. It's like giving to charity. We can't give you anything back for it, but we really do appreciate it.
And as always, make sure you check out indexjournal.com to read all our articles about tonight's games. Thanks for tuning in.